Yes, the out of town pace of life is very, very pleasant. Very pleasant.
It's definitely.
I want to move just for that.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, it took me a little longer to get from Bayswater. Okay, so Zok the Gemara, we're on pay Hamid base on the bottom. A lot of impractical halacha tonight. Well, some of it is practical, some of it's less practical, but well, let's see. So, right? So what does the Mishna say? That the windows of Yerushalayim and the windows and the thickness of the walls of Yerushalayim are considered part of Yerushalayim, right?
But the doorway to the wall is not.
The doorway is not. That was yesterday's daf, but the windows and the thickness of the walls are. Yeah. So now, Samar Rav Gagan Valiyas Loinis Kadshu. But Rav says, but the rooftops, right, and the aliyas and the second floors of both the Beis Hamikdash and Yerushalayim, right? That's what Rashi says. He's referring to both. Don't have kedusha, right? After that, there's no kedusha. So basically, you could stand. You would not be able.
Even though they're inside the wall chayma.
Even yeah. It's a fascinating shita, right? That means you can't have a barbecue with your korbanos on your porch. That's what comes. I mean, if your porch is street level, then yes, right? But not on your rooftop, right? Which is what the Gemara is going to discuss. Yeah. That's what we. Yeah, go ahead. What are you saying?
No, I'm saying you have 50 people in the house for the Seder. So you have the men down the first floor, and the ladies are on the second floor. They're not yoitza.
Very good. Exactly. That's mamish what we learn out.
So only tuma goes up and down. We're not worried about kedusha of a place and all that stuff.
Good point, Simon. That's a good point. Yeah, tuma, yeah, but the kedusha not. Exactly. Yeah.
Didn't we say in regards to Erevin? That it goes up and down? The walls.
That's good achis and good asik, yeah. But the kedusha, here we're talking about the kedusha.
So, but
why don't we say the wall?
You can't eat the korban pesach on the second floor of your house?
Correct. That's what we're going to discuss now.
And what about underground then?
Oh, very good. So the Gemara is going to discuss underground. The Gemara is
going
to go through all these.
Everything's apartment buildings. What if you live in the second your apartment?
Yeah, it comes out if you have an apartment in the second floor in Yerushalayim, then you can't eat the korban pesach there. Right, that's what comes out. All these advertisements in all the papers, they put a little asterisk over there that, by the way, according to Rav, as the Shem Mashiach comes, you're going to have to go eat downstairs by your neighbor. I don't know.
Loey's okay.
Yeah, whatever it is, but that's his shita. That's yeah.
We paskin this way?
Yes.
We can't paskin that way.
Why not?
Because the whole Yerushalayim is apartment.
No, but it's the game. Rav Aaron's right. It's 100% negayah. Because of this, you cannot have 5 people of the minyan in the Ezras Nashim and 5 people in this marriage. They don't combine. It's a different rishus. Now the shaila is if there's a minyan in the Ezras Nashim, in a minyan in the Besmerish, and you're alone in the Ezras Nashim, so then that's a question. If they see each other, like we discussed yesterday, if they see each other, then it would be mutter. But then you need sort of like the white shul matzah, because really you have to see face to face. So if there's nashim's in the back, unless everybody's facing the back, which I don't think you want to down with the minyan if they're facing the back, so then it doesn't work. But either way, so all right. So then what comes out from this is, can you fly a helicopter over the Makam HaMikdash?
According to this, yes, it doesn't go up.
What?
According to this, yes.
According to this, you'd be able to. Well, I mean, lav dafka, no, because this is only because there's a roof overhead. There's no roof overhead. Right? What's Rav saying?
Kedusha doesn't go up, but Tuma does.
That's exactly what Simon was saying. Yeah. No, it does. If it's a separate, Rav seems to be saying that if it's a separate room, the kedusha stops by that ceiling, which Tuma is going to do the same thing. Right? Tuma will stop by the ceiling.
Parents, your Rebbe never remembered anything you did good in yeshiva, right? Only Only
No,
the
or
bid.
Rashi
what
says
you did.
airspace
Right.
is.
What?
It says here Rashi.
So those are those
is
boxes, yeah.
only
the
ground level,
Hallel
including
ran at it.
airspace until the ceiling.
Till the ceiling, right? Till the
So
ceiling.
that means you can't ride a helicopter.
Right. So l'chayra helicopter, you'd not because it's going straight over. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to more because what also comes out from this sugya is can you put kvittelach into the kaisel? Right? Lamaisa, the thickness of the wall. If depending what you hold the kaisel is the kaisel of the whole Beis Hamikdash or whatever it is. But if you hold that the thickness, depending on how you paskin, so the thickness of the wall, then you can't put kvittelach in there. Maybe you shouldn't even touch the wall. Right? Rabbi Avad Yosef has interesting tshuva. We'll get to that. We'll get to it soon. Okay, but anyway, so
why would you assume that you can't, or that you can put something in there regardless of the thickness of the wall?
what do you mean?
If
No,
the,
because
if the wall's a foot thick or 50 feet thick, it's still the same wall.
Yeah, and Hanami, right? No, 100%. But no, there is one thing. We'll get to it. The Rabbi Avad Yosef has an interesting tshuva about this. Well, let's see. Let's go through the sugya. So if I forget to say it, somebody please remind me. This tshuva from Rabbi Avad Yosef. But I hope that it's an interesting one, so I think I should remember. Anyway, so again, Amar Rav Gagan va'aliyas loinis kachu. The roofs and the upstairs, the second floors have no hektish. It's not true. Amar Rav Mishum Rav Chia kazesa pischa. What they did, everybody ate a kazayas of the korban pesach, right? That's the minimum amount that everybody eats. V'halila, how do you pronounce it? Hallel, it means hallel. V'halila, poka igra, would crack the roof, right? Isn't there a phrase? Isn't there a popular phrase like this? It was so loud that the roof crashed, the roof came crashing down or something like that? No?
What, about Yerichai?
No, well, Yericha was the walls, but I'm saying, no, they say it about stadiums, lahavdil. Like it was so loud that the roof came down. Isn't it something like that? The roof isn't what after a show they say that
to bring the roof down before the show. Let's bring the roof down.
Oh, that's before the show. I thought that was after the show. Ich weiß nicht. Whatever it is, but the Gemara is saying that the Hallel was the singing of the Hallel was so loud that it busted a hole in the roof. Right? My love. So now, what does it sound like from there? So that means that were they on the roof or were they not on the roof? Right? Yeah. So my love, what does this mean? That they were on top of the roof, right? That's what broke the roof. My love, must be that they ate on the roof. They ate the korban pesach on the roof. Again, the korban pesach has to be eaten in Yerushalayim. So if Rav is saying that the roofs are not Yerushalayim, right? If Rav is saying that the roofs are not Yerushalayim, so then how did they eat the korban pesach on the roof and sing Hallel? So our answer is no, they ate it downstairs, and then when they wanted Hallel, they went upstairs. I guess everybody had their apartments downstairs, and then when they wanted to have a communal Hallel, so then that's when they got together and they did the Hallel on the roof. So it's not true, but you're not allowed to eat anything after Afi Kaimon. What does that mean? Meaning, why are you not allowed to be maftir after Afi Kaimon? Right, so everybody knows that, right? After Afi Kaimon, you don't eat anything, right? So the pshat is that we're afraid that if we're going to allow you to go eat the Afi Kaimon in another chabura, so then you might end up eating the korban pesach in another chabura too, right? Point is so the Gemara is thinking, it shouldn't go from chabura to chabura, and the assumption is that doing Hallel is also the same thing. Right, so Gemara says, "Like kasha, kam b'shas achila, kasha le b'shas achila." B'shas achila, it's a problem. That then you're not allowed to jump from chabura to chabura, even if you're only eating matzah or coleslaw or whatever, potatoes, right? But once you're done eating, then you're allowed to go sing with another chabura.
What's b'shas achila exactly?
When
the
you're
other chabura is still eating.
What?
Sounds to me like there's a time for achila, like until chatzos, it's man achila.
Maybe.
It sounds like a riot. You say halal after chatzos. It's not like the Mishna.
Okay, that's true, but I don't think that's what it means, though. It means like this: I'm done my korban pesach, right? I'm one of those quick half-hour magid people, right? and now I'm finished, and I want to go visit my friend. So, if you're still eating, you're not allowed to, even if you're finished with the korban pesach, right? You're not allowed to.
How could you still be eating if you're finished with the korban pesach?
Because why is it ein maftir nachar pesach?
You can't still be eating after the pesach. You're not allowed to eat anything after it.
Yeah, well, why not?
You shouldn't go from kabura to kabura, but either way, you're not allowed to eat.
You do the what do you call it?
Or the tonight.
You do the tonight. You can eat. You do the tonight.
I don't know if the tonight probably doesn't work with the real korban pesach. Now that we use matzah, you can make it tonight.
Why not?
Because the first kazayis was also from the korban pesach. If you can't eat after, you can't eat after. You can't say I wasn't eating the korban pesach.
What's the tonight? You can't eat when? When there's after chatzos, you can eat. You can eat for the next 4 days.
The tonight means that the first kazayis of matzah that I ate was not the apikaim. You can't say that with the korban pesach. The first kazayis was not the korban pesach. It was.
But you ain't maftir and achra pesach afikaim, right? Till when? Till you get to eventually and on the Hallel when?
Till Alois.
Why?
They had eventual and then also.
They only let you eat till chatzos.
First Mishna and brachas.
Till Alois.
First Mishna and brachas.
I keep the seder till Alois. They told you just have to. You can't eat does not cover pesach anymore by chatzos. So you can eat whatever you want. You're allowed to eat. Who told you can't?
According to Eliezer, yes, but according to the Chachamim, no.
So
okay, so you say basically what he's asking, but it can't be the tonight because then it's shaloi b'shas achila l'chayra, right? It's either it's b'shas achila, shaloi b'shas achila, right? So let's say kan b'shas achila, you can't go
means while I'm still eating.
Yes.
But I can't be if I already ate my pesach.
No, but can you go hang out by your friend's house? Even without the eating. You're done, you're done. Now you want to go sit by your friend's house.
So that's shaloi b'shas achila, as long as I'm done.
That's what I think.
But if I eat my korban pesach and then want to go there and eat some more.
No, that you're not allowed to do.
No.
That's awesome.
Right.
I don't understand what the b'shas achila means. What does b'shas achila mean?
When you're eating. You're not allowed to go. You're not
before I eat. You just want to say Chad Gadya with him.
You're not allowed.
Hold on. B'shas achila means before I ate the korban pesach.
No, when you're eating the korban pesach.
But that's not the din of ein maftirin. We know you're not allowed to go michabur. We had the Mishna. Last Mishna was that.
No, but that's what this
that's
is.
Not this din.
By the way, the next Mishna is going to say it could be heichal, but that's a different story.
Right, but yeah.
Right, but no, I think it's just bringing ein maftirin achar pesach afikaim. It has. It's. I don't. I'm not sure why the Gemara is bringing ein maftirin achar pesach. Right. Why does it have to bring this whole ein maftirin?
Because that's how Rav learns. That's how Rav learns the mashmos of afikaimon is lashon hoitziu kleichem. That's what Rashi says.
Correct.
The lashon of afikaimon means you can't go from one chabura to the next while you're eating after eating the korban pesach.
Right. Okay.
So after I eat the korban pesach, there's still something called shas achila. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Unless the other chabura is still eating korban pesach. So when everyone's finished,
that's what
that sounds like a time.
That's why I understood it that the other guys are still eating the korban pesach.
That's b'shas achila. So what's shaloi b'shas achila? How do I know when I'm here when they're doing a block away?
You don't know. You don't know.
So that means it's chatzos.
You can't come in. You knock on the door. You say, "Hey, you finished? Okay, I could come in." I'm very bad about this. Right? Listen, I'm not going to win any big Lumdish awards with this terrorist, with this shot. I'm going to try to tell you.
I would have said that Shas Achil is a specific time, like the Chatzos.
Right. Okay. But then you have your kasha.
Hallel. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So let's see weiter. So he answered like kasha kam b'shas achila kam shaloi b'shas achila, whichever way you learn that. But the bottom line is,
can I throw something in there? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're talking about korban pesach and all that stuff. Aren't we basing off the first pesach? You're not supposed to leave. Yeah. They weren't supposed to leave the house in Mitzrayim, right? So then,
correct.
If we're basing everything based off of that, why would you be able to leave the house?
Oh, okay. So okay, good. So we have to wait for the next. That sugi is the next Mishna. Yeah. So let's wait for the next Mishnah for that sugya. Okay, very good. So Toshima, so that's one kasha on Rav. So we answered. Now another kasha on Rav. Abashol Oimer Aliyas Beis Kachei HaKadoshim Chamurumi Beis Kachei HaKadoshim. The second floor of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, right? There was a second floor over the Kodesh HaKadoshim, right? So that's stricter than the Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. Beis Kachei HaKadoshim.
What was in there?
It doesn't seem like anything.
This is in the Beis Hamikdash, not the Mishkan.
There's
This is
a
the Beis
staircase.
Hamikdash. This
in
is
the
the Beis
Kodesh-
Hamikdash.
There's a staircase in the.
I don't know how you got in there. The stomach, or maybe it's a ladder. Right? As we know, the Kohen Gadol went in on Yom Kippur to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. V'aliyas Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim, but the second floor, he only went once. Anytime it says b'shvua, it doesn't mean once a week. It means once every Shemitah cycle. Some say pamayim b'shvua. Some say twice in the Shemitah cycle. Once every 50 years to go just see if there's any repairs that are necessary up there. So you see that the second floor is way more chashuv than the first floor, right? So Rav Yosef, may heichal neikum v'neisiv inish, a person, you're going to stand up and ask a kasha from the heichal, shani heichal d'chsiv. Heichal is different because it says vayitin Dovid l'shleima b'nai es tavnis ha'ulam v'esbatav v'ganzavav v'aliyasav v'charodav v'chadarav ha'pnimis v'beis ha'kaparis. Dovid Hamelech gave the plans to Shlomo for the whole Beis Hamikdash. Uksiv hakol b'ksav, everything is written miyad Hashem alai hiskil. Everything is from Hashem, and He gave it to me.
So what? Shlomo Melech did what he wanted. He didn't do anything according to the plans. What's the difference if he had the plans?
Right. So, but what it's saying, you're right. But what it's saying is that Hashem Himself made that second floor kodesh. That's for sure. You can't bring kashas from the second floor because that's clear that Hashem Himself said this is kodesh. Meaning you can't bring a raya to the second floor of your fancy apartment somewhere in Rechavia based on the second floor of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So Tashuma.
Didn't we have a question about this? Like how on the way when they're done fixing it, how are they allowed to be in
Yes,
there?
we had very good parrots. We had how they're over on Meila. How did they fix it without benefit? Well, yes, very good. Very good.
Can I ask, if there's no kedusha on the second floor, according to Rav, is anyone living on the second floor apartment Yotze Mitzvos Yishuv Eretz Yisrael?
Oh, I don't know. Don't come out with that one, my friend. Then the ads are really not gonna.
There's no kedusha Eretz Yisrael.
You want to know if there's any kedusha Eretz Yisrael if you live on a second floor? They must talk about this. I didn't
What
come
does
across.
kedusha Eretz Yisrael have to do with anything?
No, because there's no kedusha to the second floor. Doesn't have any.
He said
kedusha.
there's no kedusha. Well, he said there's no kedusha of being within Yerushalayim. He says there's
Right,
no
but
kedusha
that
Eretz
means-
Yisrael.
Oh, so you're saying maybe for Eretz Yisrael,
Specifically
there is kedusha, but
Yerushalayim.
Yerushalayim does not have.
Yeah.
No, I thought
Yeah.
you extended it. I would have. If you say there's no kedusha, whatever kedusha in the Beis Hamikdash doesn't go to the second floor. The Gemara is thinking, and whatever kedusha is in Yerushalayim doesn't go to the second floor. So l'chara, whatever kedusha you have in Eretz Yisrael doesn't go to the second floor. Wouldn't that follow?
Not necessarily.
And a chanami. So that's
It's
we gotta
based
do
on
our
walls.
research. Okay, I'm not buying an Eretz Yisrael now.
And
because,
also, isn't
yeah,
that
there's only-
about Shida table of Migdal that you carry and you're in a box? It seems like you're still in kedusha.
So that's
Eretz
Tum and
Yisrael.
Tara, right? That's Tum and Tara. It's a little different. I don't know. It's good. That's a good question. I'm going to believe another try and research it. Fine.
He has a apartment upstairs.
Yeah, Tashima. Okay, so let's see. Another kasha. Lishkas habenuyas b'kodesh psuchas l'chol. So they had these lishkos. How do you title lishka? A room that was built into the kodesh.
Chamber.
In a chamber. So they had a chamber. So we were just discussing chamber in the previous year. Okay, a little different chamber, but okay, right? But same word, right? Halishkas habenuyas b'kodesh upsuchas l'chol, and they open up to the chol. Right? So Teichen chol v'gagasev kodesh. The inside of it is considered chol, but the roof is kodesh. You see right there, beferish that the roof is kodesh. Kashon Rav. So Tirgum Rav Chisda no b'shagagasei shovin lekarka azara. No, the basic way the azara worked was that it was sort of like Harnof, or true there's any place in Eretz Yisrael for the most part. Right? You go in one entrance, you're on the first floor. You come out the other entrance, you're on the fifth floor. Right? How's it go? Right? Did I say that right? Right? Whatever. Right? Whatever it is, it's built in. So one guy's floor could be the next guy's ceiling. Right? So that's what we're saying. That's where it had kedusha. So Iyachi, the Gemara says, Ema Seifa, Benuyas Bechal, Psuchas L'Kodesh. If it was built in the Chol and it opened up into the Kodesh, Teichen Kodesh V'Gagasein Chol. The inside is Kodesh and the roof is Chol. But if you say that this is opened up to on the ground level, so then what it is, it's a tunnel. Right? That's what Simon, you were asking. Right? The mechilas are not there's no kedusha in the how do you call it? The Western Wall tunnels do not have kedusha. That's for sure. So the Gemara answers, right? That's for the ones that were open to Harabayas. Kitanyahi, and when was that? When was the Mishna? When it's open to the Azara, right? So, but tunnels under the Azara, there is kedusha to the tunnels under the Azara. Tanya, right? We learned that a brayser of Yehuda, Aimer Mechilos mitachas a heichal chol. The Mechilos, the tunnels that are under the heichal, right? Is chol. So Kitanya hi shepsuchas l'chol. That's if the openings were open not into the Beis Hamikdash. They were open onto the Harabayis, but not into the Beis Hamikdash. So Toshima, so V'gaga Kodesh. So then it says the roof was Kodesh, right? So that's beferish that the Bryce is saying that the roof is Kodesh. So when it says V'tizbara, is that so? V'tanya v'katana, we learn Gagan alolo ein oichlin sham kachim kachim. These roofs, you don't eat kachim kachim. They ain't shechtim sham kachim kalam, and you can't shecht kachim kalam there, right? The Ella Kasha Gagoy Kodesh, but then it's a stira to Gagoy Kodesh, meaning is the roof Kodesh or not? One Bryce says it's Kodesh, the other Bryce says you're not allowed to. So Amar Rav Chama Bar Guri Eloisam Beis Amos. Okay, here we go. This is to me the week before Purim. This is pretty amazing. To those two Amos. Now Amos here doesn't mean there was Amos of a wall. There were two. Amma is a measuring stick, right? There were two 1 amma measuring sticks. That's a pshat here. Lois and Beis Amos, not 2 Amos, but there were 2 Amos measuring sticks. Beis Amos Hoya, Shushan Habira. Beis Amos, yes, like those sticks to measure, yes. So Beis Amos Hoya, Shushan Habira. There were 2 Amos in Shushan Habira, right? Achas, one was Achas al Keren Mizrachis Tzefainus. One was they kept on the northeast side of the Beis Hamikdash, va'achas al Keren Mizrachis Droimus, and one on the southeast.
What does that do with Shushan Habira?
1 second. Zusha, we'll get to that in a second. Zusha al Keren Mizrachis Tzefainus Haisi Yisera al Shal Moshe Chatzi Etzva. The one on the northeast side, the measuring stick of an amma, was half of a finger bigger than Moshe Rabbeinu's amma. Zusha al Keren Mizrachis Droimus Haisi Yisera al Chatzi Etzva. And the one on the southeast corner of the Beis Hamikdash was a half a etzba bigger. Nimtzes Yisera al Shamaycha etzba. So therefore, you're going to see that it was. I'm sorry, I said a quarter. I said chatz, right? So each one was half an amma, half a etzba. So there, what?
The first one was a half an etzba bigger than Moshe's, and the second one was a half an etzba bigger than the first one.
Was a chatzi etzba. Yeah, so then right, so it's right. So that's more than half of right, that other one, thank you, by Chatzi Etzba. I lost the cheshbon there in the middle. Yeah. So Nimtza Yisera al Shamaycha Etzba. So therefore, together, it's more than it's 1 Etzba more. Yes, thank you. V'lama hayu achas gadol achas katana. Why was
Are they both they're both half an etzba, or one is half an etzba and one is a whole etzba?
No, each a half. Right?
No, one is a whole.
No, the second one is a whole etzba bigger than Moshe's.
I'm sorry. No, each one was a half an etzba bigger. The first one was a half. I don't know if it's first or second, whichever. I don't know what the order is. The first one, or the northeast one, was half an etzba bigger than Moshe's, and the southeast one was a half an etzba bigger than that. So which means that it was 1 etzba bigger than the second one, whatever, the southeast one was 1 etzba bigger than Moshe's. Yeah, we clear now? Yeah, I'm sorry about the confusion, right? Why they do this? What the workers would take the payment for the small amount, meaning they ask them, okay, we need you to build us a box or whatever. That's 2 amos by 2 amos. So they would say, okay, I need this and this amount of material, and they would take whatever amount of money they would need, right? But then they would end up building it bigger, right? And they would give it back. The finished product would actually be bigger. Why? It would be bigger. So that they shouldn't end up overcharging the Beis Hamikdash, and then they're over on Me'ilah. It was a safety net that they put in, that their measurements were slightly bigger than what it should have been, right? So v'tarti lamali, and why do you need 2 different measuring sticks? Achas lekaspa v'adava, one was for gold and silver, v'achas lebinyana, one was for construction.
Yaakov,
Yeah.
I mamish don't understand this. I can't understand this. We spend, like we talk about the Reb Chaim Oizer said he learned Shulchan Aruch for 30 years. He didn't believe in, he knew what kosher was, he knew what glat was. We have all the Shulchan Aruch, all the Rishonim, all the nice kelim to come out pinklich what a halacha is. What a halacha is, what a shear is, what a halacha is. Gedolei Olam break their heads for years and nights and years to do it. But when you come to Maisa, you got to make it be safe. Why do what the shear we gave you a shear. Do the shear. What makes why be a big knocker? I'm doing more.
They have people like me in mind.
There you go. Naftali says it's a raya that people will like him in the Beis Hamikdash.
Big Rahman. Big Rahman.
but you know what? You could say fakert. They knew that there's always so many machlokes in the shiurim. We better be safe and go with the bigger one, just because we can't even come to a consensus when we're supposed to do every day.
I'm sorry, like the Piskei Tshuva says, you got halacha, you got to do the halacha. Batal b'shishim is batal b'shishim.
Right. Okay. I hear. But I guess because of nerves, that's supposed to be. It must be the nerves. Must be the nerves.
I'm saying that why create any gather then? It's child's on any gather that the Rabbanan created.
Yeah, no. So
yeah,
this is people making it. This isn't the Rabbanan. I have the shkash on the Rabbanan too. Yeah. What?
That was a famous question. One of the Lubavitch Rebbe's asked his father, "What's pshat in all these Rabbanans?"
Is that so?
Yeah. One of them asked him. You know what he said? He said that because Hashem wants you to strengthen your connection to the Rebbeinu Shalom.
I hear.
So they created Gedarim so that you have more of a connection. You don't ruin these.
I hear
the mitzvahs.
That's
the answer.
Okay, I hear. All right, so okay, but I don't know if here it seemed like they were more worried. They were more worried about being over on Me'ilah. That was like a practical thing. But I hear what you're saying. Now, how come the gold and the silver one was bigger, right? Was bigger than the binyan one? So the gold and silver one is because the mice. It's going to cost them a lot more money, the workers, right? So therefore, I'm sorry, that's why it was smaller. The gold and the silver measurement was the smaller one. Right, because because we don't want them to have to spend that much more money because of the nerves. But the construction one, it's the materials are worth less, so we don't have to be such a pressure to make it such a pressure. Now the pshat in this Shushan Habira, there's 2 pshatim in Shushan Habira, right? So that's Rashi. It's not a Rashi here. It's a Rashi in Menachos. That the bottom line is they built it as a zikaron to Shushan Habira because the what do you call it? The kings of Paras allowed them to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash, right? When was the Churban base? When was the story of Purim? In between the first Bais and the second Bais. Bottom line is that the kings of Persia allowed the Yidden to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. So Rashi says 2 pshatim there. Either it's called, well, it's really a Mishna and Midas, but it's either because they made it like as a zikaron to Shushan, or that the people of Shushan, meaning the Persian kings, the rulers, whoever allowed it, made them make them a zikaron. It's either they did it voluntarily or which could maybe be the same thing. Well, okay, but right, if not every time somebody makes a zikaron to somebody is because of the love, or it's just because you don't have a choice. But whatever, that's why it's called Shushan Habira, that section of the Beis Hamikdash. Fine. So Tanan, right, 3 lines up from the Mishna. Tanan, the windows and the thickness of the walls makes it like you're part of the inside. Windows, that's where you can find a window that it's equal with the karka of the azara. But the thickness of the walls, how do you find it? So mishkachas bebar shura. You can have a low wall. Dichsiv vayavel chel v'chayma. Right, and he put a small wall and then a regular wall. What it means, it's a high wall and a low wall. So it is possible that you can have a low wall that has kedusha to it, and it's not necessarily the regular high wall.
Like
right?
in the basement, like the Beis Hamikdash cut, when you take out the glass, it has the kedusha of the big Beis Hamikdash.
I can't. We're not going down that road now, but okay. Right. So good, very good. So what comes out of maskonas hadvarim from this sugya? Right. So only comes out that the walls do not have kedusha, only if they're equal with the azara. So now what's with the kaisel? Right? Does the kaisel have kedusha or not? Pashtus in this Gemara, the kaisel is it's below. It's
Isn't
below.
the kaisel even added later, and it's just a wall or it's a retaining wall that?
Right. So that's a different machlokes, whether it's a retaining wall or not. But even if it would be the wall of the Beis Hamikdash, should it be a problem? So the Rambam Lamaisa Paskins Fakert from this Gemara, right? Because the Gemara in Zvachim is mashma. The Gemara in Zvachim is mashma that not like our Gemara. So it's a shtickle steer in the Gemaras. But whatever it is, Rabbi Vadir Yosef has a tshuva that says that you can't go up to the wall of the base of the kaisel. Why? If you're going with the Rambam, that the wall has kedusha, because if you notice with the kaisel as it goes higher, the wall gets thinner and thinner because that's how they built it, right? It's wider on the bottom, and those kaisel walls go way, way down. So when you're standing next to the kaisel, you're standing on top of the bottom of the wall of the kaisel. You know what I'm saying? It's like a teepee, right? I mean, obviously not as sharp, but it's more gradual. So Rav Adia says, how can you stand? According to the Rambam, how can you stand next to the kaisel?
You have to stand a few feet away.
You got to stay a few feet away, according to the Rambam. So now there are those that are heichal, that the wall doesn't have kedusha, like our Gemara seems to say. But there are cholkim, so there are people that are makbid not to go close to the kaisel. Well, I was by the kaisel when Reb Chaim Kanievsky showed up. I'm almost 100% sure he didn't. He stayed a few feet away from the kaisel. He didn't. I mean, he had his Kupat Ta'ir list of papers they shoved in front of him to daven. I saw that. Peretz, you were with me, weren't you?
When Reb Chaim came?
Yeah, he didn't touch the kaisel. He stayed a few feet away from what I remember. They sat him down and stand a few feet away. He did not go near the kaisel. So
yeah,
whatever it is,
it seems the video.
So maybe Taka. The minig of the Welt is obviously not like this. The minig of the Welt is not like this.
Does that mean that's how the Chazon Ish poskin?
Could very well be. If the Chazon Ish even never saw the kaisel, I don't even know.
The Briskers hold that, no?
It could be. Yeah, the Briskers hold that.
The Briskers don't touch the kaisel.
Okay, so that kol shekain, they don't put in kvitlach, right? And they don't touch it, but I don't know if they're makbid like not to stand on it either. Whatever it is, very interesting.
When you were there, did you go next to it?
I don't touch it, that's for sure. But the truth be told is I never understood the sugya like I understand it today. So now, just for the shtick of it, next time Be'ez Hashem I should be zeicher to go, I think I'm going to stay more than a few feet away, just not be. Because now, if I remember the sugya, which is not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination, right? But
so we could get more confused by what you do.
There you go. That's right. You deserve it for following anything that I do. So that's. But anyway, it's okay. Whatever it is.
Yeah, there's gone Shani Eden that touched the kaisel.
Correct. Marayiv of Kallah Yisrael touches the kaisel. I don't know if they put in kvitlach. That already I don't know. But I don't know what the minig is with that. But Lamaisa, they touch the kaisel, they kiss the kaisel. That's what Marayiv of Kallah Yisrael does. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. I said if I would do it, it would be a shtick, not because not that you should be pulling shtick with it. It's just like if you remember the sugya. So okay, whatever.
Yaakov, do you remember what date that was?
It was I have no idea.
By the yard site?
Was by the yard site?
It must have been by the yard site. It must have been. We went for the yard site.
What year?
I have no idea. Me,
We
you, and
were here
Schultz.
with
It's got to be
you.
at least 5-6 years ago for
If
sure.
you
He's
go
trying
in
to
the
find
tunnel,
pictures. He's trying to find pictures.
Yeah.
if
You
you go in the
understand
tunnel,
that.
you'll see this huge, like 50-ton rock that was put right on the whatever it's called. There's nothing below that piece, so I would assume that huge stone could be
Could be the base of it.
yeah, it has to be because it's like it's I forget it's like the foundation. It's the hugest. I forget how many tons it is
I hear. Interesting. I was never down there, so I guess next time I got
in
to.
the
You
tunnel.
should
It's
go.
really amazing.
Henek's son is a
Yeah, I'll
guy.
have to. Next time I go, I'll have to hook it up with him. Okay.
1 second, but didn't we say there's no kedusha in the tunnels?
What?
Didn't we say
If
there's
they
no-
open up into the Beis Hamikdash, there is kedusha. If they don't open up to the Beis Hamikdash, they're not. So I don't know if these
So
tunnels.
now, 1 second. So now,
These tunnels must not open up to the.
right? So there's no kedusha. So that means the platform we stand on
So those are tunnels.
becomes the floor.
No.
It's a tunnel underneath now.
What? The tunnel doesn't have kedusha, but
The wall still has kedusha.
yeah,
It doesn't go just to the.
if you go that the wall holds big, yeah. From our sugi, it's mashra that the wall does not have kedusha. That's the bottom line. Okay, Zok the Mishna. Shtei chaburas shahayu oichlin b'ba'isera. There were 2 chaburas eating in one house. Elu haifchen es pneim heichal v'oichlin. Ve'elu haifchen es pneim heichal v'oichlin. Each one can. They don't have to. They could turn their face away from the other chabura. Right now, from this, because according to this shita, right, they don't want to. They want to turn their face away because otherwise it looks like they're eating it in the same chabura as one big chabura, and then, right, and then they may look like they're different, right? Yeah. So meaning this Tana is going to hold. We're going to see in the Gemara. This Tana holds that you are allowed to eat the korban pesach in two different chaburas. Right, but whatever it is, they are allowed to turn their face.
How does this affect hotels?
What do you mean? What eating together? No, but we don't. Are hotels then, or when we don't have korban pesach? No,
Let's say Bisman said they had hotel programs, and
I grata saw Simon. I grata saw that. I think I once saw that there are those that say you shouldn't eat afi kaiman in 2 different houses. That you remind me. I'm pretty sure I've seen that because of this.
I'm just talking as 2 different groups. You're in the same room, but you have your own table or tables put together in a certain manner, whatever. How does one have the Afrikaner and other things in the same room as other people?
Well, that's and a chanami. So that's exactly what he's saying. Here, this mandomer doesn't care. You can eat the korban pesach with 1 chabura, 2 chaburas. He doesn't care. It doesn't have to be 1 chabura, right? So therefore, he's fine with it. But he's saying that you can even turn your face away, and you don't have to worry about you look like 1 group, 2 groups. He doesn't care. But yeah, but we paskin. What are you saying?
Does this make enough community of spirit because I'm Muslim from the Zuman?
Doesn't make enough. Yeah, it would make enough.
It's called 1 group,
you have
2
the,
groups.
you have the
if they're
chazan,
facing
yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
If you see each other in different houses.
If you see each other, then they could. But if they're turning away from each other, they're not seeing each other. Right? And then the hot water urn is in the middle, and the shamash can go give each one hot water. Because shamash aymed libzayg, and when the shamash gets up to pour hot water into the wine, right, to water it down, koifetz is piv. He should close. What is koifetz is? Somebody say something? No. Koifetz is piv. He should close his mouth and machzor his panav and turn his face until he gets back to his chabura. Heichal, and then he could eat. Now, right, that he holds that you can't, meaning you could divide the korban pesach in between groups, right? Then it's fine. But the waiter, the guy, the what do you call it, the shamish, needs to decide which group he's going to. Yeah, because then it sounds like he's eating in 2 things. This will get clear with the Machlokes in the Gemara. A Kallah who just got married, so she turns her face away and she eats. Right? So Rashi says, because she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed. People are watching her. Right? So she's allowed to turn her face away. Right? Fine. So let's see the Gemara. So Masnisan money. Who's our Mishna? Who's the time of our Mishna? Rabbi Yehudi. It's Rabbi Yehuda. the Tanya alabatim asher yoichel oisai behem. It says that you eat it in those in the houses, right? We see from this that the korban pesach could be eaten in 2 chaburas, right? Meaning, not he holds that you have let's say 50 guys that are part of an animal, right? 50 guys combined to be part of the animal. They don't have to eat together. They can separate and they can each one eat with their own group. Once they go with a group, then they can't bounce to the other group, right? But they could separate into their own group. So you would think, okay, so if that's the case, so why can't somebody eat in 2 places, right? So therefore it says, in one house, you eat it in one house, and therefore you got to eat. You have to eat with one group. Mikan Omru. So from here we see that a shamash sha'achol kazayis b'tzad hatanur. Let's say the shamash decides to eat a kazayis next to the tanur when he's the one in charge of roasting the korban pesach. So EPK, and he decides to pop a piece into his mouth. So now he made his place next to the oven. So now he can't continue eating his korban pesach next to the other people. So if he's smart, what he has to do, he should fill himself up with some of the korban pesach right there, because he can't go sit down by the table and eat it with the rest of the oil, because that's like eating the korban pesach 2 different places. But if the bnei chabura wants to do a matayva, they can go join him next to the oven, right? Because he's not allowed to go to eat in a different spot, but they can come to him. That's Rabbi Yehuda says. Reb Shimon says, "Alabatim asher yoichlu oisei behem." He disagrees. He says, on the houses that you're eating them, he says, no, you can eat in 2 different places, right? Not like we've been saying till now. Yeah, so you would think that, okay, so then he could eat it. That you would think that you're allowed to eat the korban pesach in two groups. That you eat it in one group. Yeah, so therefore he holds the opposite. So these opposite shittas. The first shitta holds you can eat it in 2 groups, but meaning you could split it up to 2 groups, but you're not allowed to bounce from one group to the other. And the second shitta holds you can bounce from one group to another group of a different pesach, but you're not allowed to split. Once you have 50 guys that get counted on one korban, then they have to eat all together. What's Shushan in the Machlokes? One says that because it's spelled heichal and it's pronounced heichal, right? And the question is, do you go with Mesiris or the way it's spelled or the way it's pronounced? Now Rashi, it's a big Rashi here, who goes with both ways. Which one is the Mesiris and which one is the? Right, Rashi brings both ways, whether which sheet is going with the Mesiris and which sheet is going with the Mikra. Fine. If they were sitting together and then somebody brought a mechitza and put down between them, right? The Divrei Omer Pesach nechol b'shtei chaburos. So according to the sheet that says the korban pesach gets eaten in 2 chaburos oichlin, then they're allowed to eat it, because even though there was a mechitza between them, but you're allowed to eat in 2 chaburos. So Divrei Omer ein pesach nechol b'shtei chaburos. But according to one that says that the pesach can be eaten with 2 chaburos, you can't eat ein oichlin. Fine. Let's say they were sitting in 2 different chaburos with a mechitza in between them, the opposite. Now somebody took away the mechitza. So the Divrei Omer heichal b'shnei mekayos. According to one that says that whoever eats it can eat it in 2 different places, eichel, they could eat it. The Divrei Omer ein heichal b'shnei mekayos, ein eichel, because now they took away the mechitza, and now went from 2 separate groups to 1 group, right? So those are the 2 things. Now, this I found interesting. So we seem to say a pshat in the question, right? The shaila was 2 shailas. One, they brought a mechitza in the middle, and the other ones they took away the mechitza. Now, Yosef Rav Kahana, kapashat le mifshan. Rav Kahana sat down, and he paskin the shaila pashat. He said pashat, right? And he didn't have any sort of suffix. So Amalei Rav Ashi Rav Kahana v'tibaylach ivay siluk mechitza v'asiyah mechitza Why didn't you ask? Why didn't you have the shaila whether removing a mechitza is considered like making a mechitza, right? I mean, not making. If removing a mechitza or putting a mechitza there, is that considered like two different places or not? And teku, he says teku. So it's interesting that the Gemara answered the shaila. The Gemara said it depends who you hold, like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon, right? And now the Gemara is saying teku. So it seems like it's a teku who to paskin like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon. I don't know. Found that a little interesting, right? Yeah, fine. Hakala. So now okay, it's late, but we have the rest of the Gemara is very easy. Hakala fechas is panel. So the Kallah turns her face away. My timer. How come? Because she's embarrassed to eat. It's because Rashi says, very interesting Rashi. Rashi says everybody stares at the Kallah. Right? The obvious question on this is you're not allowed, which was today's halacha text, right? You're not allowed to stare at a male. You're not allowed to stare at when they're eating, right? And kol shekain, you're not allowed to stare at a Kallah. You're not allowed to stare at. So they say what it means. You're not staring at her. You're staring at her jewelry or whatever it is. Try that one out. Yeah, but okay, but that's what Rashi says. So she's embarrassed. Rav Huna Breda Rav Nasan Ikla Lebei Rav Nachum Yitzchak. Excuse me, I'm catching what Naftali had. Rav Huna Breda Rav Nasan Ikla Lebei Rav Nachum Yitzchak. Right, so you travel to Rav Nachum Yitzchak. Amrulei Ma Shemecha. What's your name? Amrlahu Rav Huna. He answered him back. My name is Rav Huna. Right? Amru Nesimar Apuria. Sit down on the bed. Yosef. He sat down. Yavule Kasa. They gave him a cup of wine. Kible Bechad Zimna. He took it in one the first time. He didn't even try to turn it down. Vishasi betrayed Zimni and he drank it twice. Meaning he drank the cup. It took him 2 swigs. Swigs. Yeah, to finish it. And he didn't turn around when he drank. Okay, so Amrulay, my time Akaras love Rav Huna. How come you called yourself Rav Huna? Amrlahu Bala Shemani. That's my name, right? So Rashi says interesting. When he was they called him Rav Huna from when he was a baby. Now I don't know why that is. Rashi doesn't say why, but his name was Rav Huna, right? I have a friend whose father was a doctor. A cousin whose father was a doctor. And he named his kid on the birth certificate, Doctor this and this. Okay, I'm not saying I have the most normal relatives, but that's I don't know if that's where Rav Huna got his name. His name was Rav Huna.
Is he a psychiatrist?
Is he a psychiatrist? I have no idea.
You might need one.
Maybe. Talk about expectations, right? Talk about expectations, right? Crazy. So he says Bala Shemani. He says that's my name. My timer, ki amrulach nesav apuriya yasva. How come when you were told to sit on the couch, you sat down? Right? I guess a couch was a more chashuv a thing. Amrullahu kol ma sheyamerlach balabayas. I say, the halacha is whatever the balabayas tells you to do, you do. Chutz mitzay, except for go out. Right? If the balabayas says to leave the house, that you don't have to listen to, but everything else you have to listen to. So then, okay, my time ki yavelach kasa. How come you took the kais right away? You don't turn it down. You're allowed to turn down a katan, be masarvan legadol, and you're not allowed to be masarav a gadol. Right? So so that means a gadol asks you to do something, then you have to answer. Now somebody bigger. No, means none of no. There's somebody chashuv. Right, which Tais is that? So why don't you just answer Amos Sarmagoda for the first question too?
Right? Did the not know these terutzim? Like, are these big secrets?
You mean why they should have known these terutzim?
Yeah, what's the questions for? Like...
I hear. I don't know. I mean, I thought maybe they thought Rav Huna was a regular person, and now they're seeing not. I'll tell you, Amos Sarvan, I know it's late, but Amos Sarvan Legadol. So in Yeshiva Rakwin, they wanted me to daven for the Amud. So they knew the Gabbai comes over, I'm telling him no. But Rabbi Brafman, they used to send Rabbi Brafman because Amos Sarvan Legadol, Rabbi Brafman come and ask me, I couldn't tell him no. Rabbi Rahman all of a sudden, he come up with his nice, how's your throat? Is it okay? Can you down it up? In his ernst way. So, okay, well, I should tell him no. That was their ploy. So, anyways, so that's why he said, and that's why he sat down. My time, Ishtusi betrays Zimni. How come he drank it twice? Anybody who takes one big swig and finishes his cup, that's considered a gargaron, like a fresser, somebody who's doesn't have control. Shnayim is derech eretz, shloisha megasi ruach. Yeah, Avrami, I hear your question on this one, Avrami. It's better. I mean, like here, this is a halacha. They should have known that. My time,
does that mean you can't take a shot?
It's a good question. I don't know. Is it
this might be the wrong group to ask, but
no, but I could say maybe that's where it comes in that you take a shot for kiddush, because I don't know, maybe it's worse. I hear. I don't know.
What's wrong with sipping it slowly?
Yeah, I hear, but a shot, parrots. Okay, so then
depends on your shot cup size. You have one like a Zoe.
There you go.
When you show a big shot cut.
I'm just waiting for the end of the
Mamish, he was preparing. He's preparing
Yeah.
for the last an hour.
He's preparing for the siyum, and the perek.
He was hoping we were going to get there tomorrow night so he could do it again.
Yeah.
I'll see that. That's why I go back on YouTube every night.
Yeah, very good. Listen, Reb Dovid Feinstein, that they said over, one of the fellows after Reb Dovid Feinstein was nifter said that they had a pizza party after finishing a perek, and the guy said, where do you see your side? Where do you see a makar that you're supposed to make a siyum after a perek? Reb Dovid Feinstein says, Bismanazeh, after this whole longer gullus that everything we live with, you don't need an excuse to make a party after a siyum. You don't need any excuse. A perek is a perek. It's a good enough reason to make.
Sounds like Peretz's type of gadol.
Yeah, 100%. You're muted, Rabar. Rabar, you're muted. You're muted.
Shmuel Grossman didn't finish today. He's finishing in the morning, about 5:20, whatever.
So parrots, it might be kedai to get up.
I gotta wake up early. I don't know.
There went his religion. It's a very limited religion. Okay, so
Amr 5 o'clock somewhere.
So Amr Lahu, Kallah fechas panel tanan. It just says that the Kallah has to turn her face, not everybody else. Fine. Rabbi Shmuel ben Rabbi Yossi iklu the Rabbi Shimon ben Rabbi Yossi ben Lakunya Yovel Kasa. They gave him a kos kible bechad zimni. He was in Kabbalah at one time. V'shasi bechad zimni. He drank it in one shot. Amr Lei loy savar lamara shoyse kos bevasachas hareza gargon. Did you not know that? Didn't we say that you considered like it's not proper to drink that fast? Amr Lahu. Lay amri b'kaisach katan. This is parents. When I learned this, I thought about you. This doesn't apply to your small cup, to yenach masuk, or to your sweet wine, or crazy or to my big stomach. It's all relative, okay? If depending on your sweetness and this and that, it's all relative. Okay, fine. So Amar Rav Huna, b'nei chabura nechnasim b'shloisha. This is an interesting thing. Rashi says this is Stam talking about midas and menschlichkeit. Tosfos says this is talking about the korban pesach bedafka. Right? B'nei chabura nechnasim b'shloisha. If you have a group of 3 guys that go to a restaurant and 3 guys came in to eat, right? So then, meaning it's a big group. Yeah, making a big party in a restaurant, let's say, according to Rashi's pshat. And 3 guys decide they're hungry, they want to eat before everybody else comes. It's not right to make the waiter work so hard. Right? It's not yashrus. He's going to have to work a lot harder. He has to serve you the meal, and then he's got to come back and serve everybody else. So we're saying once there's 3, then he has to do it. Right, but 1 or 2 cannot. The waiter can say no go. And they can leave 1 at a time, meaning they're allowed to leave, even though they're it's going to cause the waiter more work. So Amar Rava, I'm sorry, but that's only when they come at the regular time to eat, right? But if it's before the restaurant really opens or before the dinner time, then they're not allowed to. Who the ragashvu daila, and they also have to know the ragashvu that he feels it literally. The waiter knows that this is what they plan on doing, meaning that they plan on finishing their meal at different times, and he has to clean up from them. Fine. Then the Tosfos learns that this is all talking about eating whether that's considered eating with a chabur or not, right? Yeah, so therefore, they don't have to wait. Meaning, if there's one big group, and once there's 3 guys that want to start eating the korban pesach, they don't have to wait for everybody to come. They could start. 3 can start eating. Okay, Amar Ravina, but niceness schar damim. You have to give him. You have to pay him extra for the way they're working. Now the question is how Tosfos learns that. But v'tzarach achron lahosef damim, and the last guy got to even pay more. But less say, and the halacha is not like him, so they don't have to pay. Hadron Allah ketzad silent. And now we have what? 2 more prokim of Kodshim, and then we get to Arvi Pesachim. Hashem. All right, I'm sorry for going a little late. Okay, good to know.
Yaakov, I posted the picture of Chaim.
Yeah, I saw Yishkayach.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, so if you see, he's not close to the wall because people are standing in front of him.
Yeah. Yaakov.
I don't see him in there. Yeah.
Ravadia's
L'chaim. What do you say?
You're supposed to tell us about Ravadia's tshuva.
No, I said it. The tshuva was I said it, didn't I? Yeah, but the wall being wider on the bottom than on the what?
When you said over the tshuva, I don't know if I'm being behind in your words. You said if you hold like the Rambam, Lamaisa did Bavadia hold like the Rambam?
I think so. I didn't have enough time to be mayan into the whole how we paskin exactly, but I think so. I didn't look at the tshuva. I only saw it quoted from where did I see it quoted? One of the Daf publications, Zachin. I saw it quoted from him. So it seems like Rabbi Vadia certainly passes like that's the way they quoted it. All right. Anyways, he clearly didn't go near the Kaisel.
I have to look. I'm going to look up tonight, another on the. They have that sefer, the stories when the Minchas Lazar went to Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look up and see if they say, because I know he went to the Kaisel.
What? Who went to the Kaisel?
No, the Minchas Lazar went in the 20s. I think he went to Eretz Yisrael. The whole, you know that whole story.
To meet Rav Fandri.
Yeah, the Saba Kedusha.
The Saba Kedusha.
I hear. What are you going to look up now? Because once you add it, maybe you look up Gershon's question. That's a good question.
I don't know. So does he have a tshuva? I heard that one. Does he have a tshuva? It's in the Minchas Lazar or it's Tama?
Which one are you talking about?
From the Kitzer Shir. That's what you're talking about?
I had to make dinner and basically.
No. What are you saying? Which I'm getting Gershon Russell's question about if you Makayim Yishuv Eretz Yisrael on the second floor. Is that considered Kedusha's Eretz Yisrael? What was the other thing you were saying? The Minchas Elazar about being Yaitza on the phone?
I've never had it, so I'm not worried.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be too hard to find. That shouldn't. The Sharm Etzion Ba'alacha for sure brings it down. Ask Simon to look it up. I don't know where in the Sharm Etzion Ba'alacha.
I looked, by the way. I don't know where all these guys are finding them from. I couldn't find one anywhere.
I never had it.
I don't know. You must not have the schus.
I guess not.
That's a negative.
Speaking of schusim, what's with the Pesach sheet?
So I gotta edit it, and I spoke to my niece about, she's gonna make it all fancy, whatever. But she said it's like $152 to get laminate each piece.
I'll ask my guy what he would charge.
What do you want to laminate?
I also need somebody to go around to the stores. That's going to be Naftali's job.
Yeah, I'll get it laminated. Naftali has to bring it to the store.
What am I doing?
No, how you gonna? What do you get it laminated? When? We got to put it out in a week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
What, you selling something?
No, it's mail order. They'll mail it to you in like 2 days.
I hear.
What are we doing?
Do you have more in this house?
What?
What are we putting out?
The what do you call it?
Really came out positive.
Sure.
No, the Seder thing.
What's
the halachas of the Seder.
You're selling it?
Yeah, I want to raise money for the texting.
Okay.
So that you're safer?
No, I don't know safer.
So they have some unpublished.
So we got half the stores at David and Shasha right there.
The guy can't say, Klagsman, what's it called? Right? We got a whole store.
Oh
right
no,
there.
but it's the groceries.
What store you want to sell them? Jamaica Plus and Berman? Berman's our guy.
Yeah.
What's the guy?
Whatever.
Friedman? You see Friedman?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's done.
Anyways.
We
All
being
right.
recorded? Is this being
Jared, I
recorded?
should take like 2,000 of them to Florida. See if I can sell them there.
That's true, Taka. You give it to the Chavetz Chaim guy. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I have a question. after we record the
Anyways.
show.
All right, fine.
Thank you.
Good to know. Peace out, everybody.